You guys, welcome back to another recap video. Welcome back to the channel. And we're doing a recap of Ready to Love Season 6, Episode 10, Better Late Than Never. And it's dwindling down to the final few couples. So we got to talk about some of these folks because I know one in particular, they're definitely going to the end of this. And it looks like they're going to be good together. But we got to also cover the other drama that's going on. So before we do, if you are new here, hit that subscribe button, turn on your notifications. If you like the video, smash the like button and drop a comment down in the comment section below. So we left episode number 9 with a cliffhanger because there was a decision that was up in the air about who stays and who goes. So in episode 10, we did get the final decision, and that was our boy Tori. He is the one that was chosen to leave. And of course, with Paul, he was definitely sign of relief, um, until Tina shows up a little bit later. And, with everything from last episode, we didn't see Tina there. There was an issue, I guess, of her car trouble or something. But yeah, we're going to jump into that definitely a little bit later because, Tina had interest and seemingly looked like she had lost it for sure. But let's talk about this couple right here because at this point, if you don't know, you should know by now that Clifton and Joy look like they're going to the end. Now, there was all this situation that's going on with the Kia or the Kia, because, she had tried to get some form of hope in regards to her relationship with Clifton. But yeah, that whole thing is out the window because Clifton and Joy definitely have all of the chemistry while, she might she might think that she's the Kia, that is, might think that she's compatible with Clifton, but I don't see it. I don't see it. And we saw how they did have a conversation. Of course, she wasn't happy about it, meaning the Kia. But that allowed um Clifton to be able to move on with Joy, and they were real cozy in that hot tub. Okay, so I'm happy for them. I would like to see where they go. Look like they're going to definitely go to the end of this journey, which is coming to a conclusion very, very soon. And we did see Paul trying to step in and get to know the Kia. I don't know. I don't see it there, but yeah. I mean, I think he's probably. I don't know if I actually see because there's a connection with Paul and supposedly with Carmen. I don't even see that one either. But let's continue and talk more about what's going on. So then, we do also have this whole thing with Sabrina Donovan, Demetrius, Carmen, Paul, and I would say the one thing that's been pretty consistent out of this entire group has been communication. I mean, everybody's talking about how they're moving in these relationships, and for some people it's making it kind of hard to deal with this process. I mean, if it isn't for people like Paul who don't want to talk about their relationship with other people, it's some like Demetrius not wanting to go all in since they know that they aren't the only ones. Because like he say, I'm not going to give my all if I know that somebody isn't giving theirs. Um, and then they get to air out their grievances because we did see the whole conversation on the floor when it came to sitting down with Tommy. And what started out as, a conversation ended up looking like they was doing some serious mudslinging. I mean, be it Paul questioning Carmen's intentions, which leads to her bad mouthing what he may or may not have said about the Kia, This leads the Kia, of course, bringing all that, she has said during her confessions to the table. I mean, yeah, it got real, real messy. And, thankfully, it's not a situation that things aren't bad when it comes to Sabrina when she's asked her opinions. But feelings definitely do get a little bit hurt in this conversation because Demetrius, less so since his focus is that he will not give his all to a woman, still exploring his options. And that didn't sit well, of course, with Sabrina. But at the same time, I mean, can you fault Demetrius in this? Especially considering how much, she's kind of canoodling with him, yet still want to explore her options as well. Now, when it comes to Donovan, Sabrina questions if he is even ready to love yet. And with him thinking that, they were past that conversation, now he seemed to get a little bit unsettled about that. In fact, as much as seeing Carmen and Dakia kind of go at it, he thought it was kind of childish and seemed like Donovan would rather be with her and work on that connection than be with Sabrina, who seemingly can't let what was said go, right? So the issue there was the whole thing about whether or not he's ready to be in a relationship because he hasn't been broken up with his ex but a few amount of months and then jumped into this process. And on the flip side, the other issue with Demetrius is because his friend brought up the whole submissive or submission, and she that didn't sit well with her, and that doesn't usually sit well with a lot of women. There's a negative connotation around that whole thing, and I think it means some people tend to think that it means oppressive slavery in the household, but actually, what it comes down to is, respectful cooperation. That's all it is. I mean, people have their own feelings about that term, and Sabrina definitely have herders. And I mean, pretty much what we saw here, it just left everybody in an odd space. But the only ones that really wasn't in an odd space was Joy and Clifton. They're good. And that's the purpose of this show. I know sometimes, folks try to make it feel messy and whatnot. But the thing is that it is what it is. You're supposed to come here ready for love, and some people just aren't. But so far, the only one that I really see a solid connection with is Joy and Clifton. So I'm going to follow them to the end of this game. But the rest of them, I'm not sure. I mean, at this point, you should have made some form of solid, commitment to somebody, especially with Sabrina. She got two guys, Donovan and, of course, Demetrius. And they both look like good guys, but I guess the hang up is his dating history and what Demetrius's friend said. And like Demetrius said, just because my friend said that doesn't mean that that's what I'm going with. So, and I think that's what she should have probably explored to say, hey, Demetrius, we need to have a conversation. And I think they might have had a little bit of a conversation about the whole submission thing, but she pretty much just wrote him off. That was like up, stop, red light, go no further, So, but I will want to say something in regards to Miss Joy that I noticed. I mean, she had no issue walking around fresh face, and I think that's a great thing. I mean, a lot of time with these shows, everybody's all dolled up and hair and makeup and stuff, but Joy was comfortable. She seems comfortable in her own skin, and I think that is really, really cool. I mean, and it seemed like she came here for the right reason. Now I know that she is a singer, but it does seem like she really went through the process knowing what she wanted. She was consistent. She found her match early on. Now, Clifton, he kind of wanted to see what was up with the Kia, but even amongst that whole situation, Sabrina's confidence was still through the roof. She didn't get overly jealous. It got messy. She allowed him to figure out what he wanted to do. And ultimately, because of how she carried herself through the process, Clifton definitely seemed like he gravitated toward her. And I mean, she carries herself lighthearted. It wasn't pretentious, looking down her nose. She's always smiling, even with the makeup on. I absolutely love how she do her eye makeup. But with the makeup off, fresh face, I absolutely think that, I like seeing that. It's comfortable. He was comfortable with it. And a lot of guys want to see women fresh faced as well. I mean, I'm not saying you got to walk around like that all the time. You got to do, you know, pretty much how you feel good in your own skin. But, hey. So I honestly think that Joy and Clifton is going to be the star couple for this season. I think the only caveat is that Clifton might have a very small issue with Joy being close with her ex, but they had some very genuine communication and pretty much seemed like they accepted, any baggage or each other's trauma, and they found a way to move forward past this. Now, everybody else, they still got a lot of hangups, like I said about Sabrina. And the Kia, I just think at this point, because she put all of her eggs in one basket with Clifton and that didn't pan out, she's kind of wavering to figure out her way through the remaining part of this process. So, and Carmen, yeah. But there was one other thing too that I found interesting in this whole thing about Tina. So Tina finally showed up, and I follow her on Instagram, and she did an interview last week on Kamisha Reviews channel. So go over and check out Kamisha's channel about everything that happened. And she did an Instagram live. There was a lot of information that she gave. Well, not live. She did a reels information that she gave there. But we did get to see her finally in this episode. The guys were not happy to see her because it seemed like she was checked out of the process. And then this whole thing with Carmen, I guess she was trying to figure out where Tina's head was because one of the guys, which was Donovan, and I think Paul, had an interest with Tina. And I think Carmen was trying to, test the waters to kind of see what Tina's motives were for coming back and where she stood with the process. And Tina was pretty much honest. I don't think actually that my person is not here. And I think it's probably best for me to leave. And my thing is, I can, kind of like how Ace did, I can appreciate that fact because if you're not finding a connection, why fake it with somebody who could possibly have a connection with you and you're not here? You're just here to get to the end. You're not here for building anything else for the last several episodes. So as much as they kind of highlighted this episode with Tina being, oh, she's just checked out and she's not given a fair chance to the process. I'm like, you got to be honest with yourself. I would prefer for her to leave instead of waste Donovan's or Paul's time if they just say started to rekindle whatever connection they have. If she's not really in the game, let her go home. I can respect that, you know. And I'm glad that she was able to. And then, of course, we saw how production, because I honestly don't believe, and I think she said this in one of her interviews, that they didn't know that she had left the show because they did this whole scene where Tommy was sitting around waiting for her. She never showed up, and it made it look like she stood him up, which puts her in a bad light. So I'm waiting to after the season to kind of figure out. I want to hear whether she was already checked out and they knew it and they just set this up, or did she actually truly stand him up? I don't see her as a rude person. She seems like a really nice person from what I see outside of the show. But yeah, they really tried to make this a situation where, she just didn't really care about the process. She wasted everybody's time and she stood Tommy up. So I know she's probably going to come back and try to, kind of give some information on the background of what has happened in this particular episode and her leaving the show. So, we'll have to see. We're getting close to the end. What probably would maybe be happening next? Again, I think the end of this process, we're going to see Clifton and Joy. Paul might team up with the Kia. I don't see any connection there. Donovan and Carmen, I don't see it. I mean, I don't know. And I mean, it could be a situation of Paul and Carmen. We'll have to see. Now, there's another elimination coming up. Now, we already know Tina self eliminated, but there's the men. So, will Sabrina send Demetrius home over the whole submission thing? And then, when there's another, elimination with the women, is Sabrina going to go home? Because if Donovan is with Carmen, or Carmen is with Paul, and then we got the key in the mix. If Demetrius goes home, yeah, Sabrina is out. So we'll have to see. But I hope you enjoyed this video. It's been a pretty interesting season. It wasn't as dramatic as the DC season, which kind of gives us a break because it was a lot. Also, I don't know if you guys, and I'll put the link in the description. Cornelius from season 5 did a full interview, and I mean, he dropped a whole lot of tea on a lot of different things. And I checked it out. It was pretty interesting to say the least. Yeah, he really put it out there, and I'm wondering, if this is a situation where, hopefully, he don't get in trouble with production, but yeah, you got to check it out. I'll leave the link in the description box. So, I hope, you guys can, check it out because he really, and Camille, and even Zadi and Nye, none of them actually got a chance to actually do full roundtable interviews, kind of like the other cast members. And he talks about the reasons for that. And it's not just as simple as bloggers didn't want to talk to them. So, I'll let him go into detail about why and what happened. So check that out. I'll leave the link in the description box below. And that's it for this recap video of episode 10, Better Late Than Never. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. Like, comment, and subscribe. And we will see you in the next video. Bye.